Hello everyone, and welcome to my The Bold Fans channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Spoilers for B&B. Ridge is upset with Eric for supporting Katie. According to spoilers on The Bold and the beautiful, Eric Forrester has started working as Katie Spencer's main designer. But for the time being, Eric is keeping this a secret. The truth will ultimately surface, but Eric wants to make sure he is a good match for this position and can cooperate with Bill Spencer. Eric Forrester talks to his wife Donna. Logan Forrester is torn between two opposing viewpoints. Donna is the sister of Katie and Brooke Logan Forrester, and she is married to Eric. Donna does not want to bear the responsibility for Eric's actions. At first, Donna was unaware of his intentions. Donna is now rather worried. Donna is concerned about how Eric's plan will be received by Brooke and Ridge Forrester. Eric wants Katie to have more opportunities to succeed with her fashion firm since he believes in her. Eric is correct. Ridge and Brooke must mature. Will Eric eventually make his argument and persuade Ridge that he is competent? Katie Spencer is reassured by Eric Forrester, who first offered to serve as a consultant. But Eric isn't going to let Katie work with amateurs once he sees her potential abilities. Eric recognizes that he must intervene to assist. Although this was not the initial idea, Eric is at a loss for what to do. Eric is too devoted to Katie to let her perish. Additionally, Eric is angry because Ridge and Brooke forced him into retirement. Why would Eric owe these two anything since they showed him no loyalty at all? Eric made it clear that he didn't want to retire, and Donna was the only person at Forrester Creations who cared. Eric is getting everything from Katie that Ridge denied him. It is inevitable that Katie Spencer will bear the blame because Eric approached her, not the other way around. Before volunteering to design for her, Eric first offered to consult with her business. The fact that Brooke and Ridge are attempting to claim the name Logan infuriates Eric. All three of the sisters share that name and are free to use it, as Eric is well aware. Donna is aware of the reality, but Brooke and Ridge will undoubtedly hold Katie accountable for Eric's decision to collaborate with her. Eric is committed to helping Katie because he believes she should have the opportunity to realize her aspirations. Katie shouldn't be treated the way Ridge and Brooke have treated him, in Eric's opinion. Will Eric help Katie's fashion firm succeed? Next 2 weeks spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful include Dylan's desperation, Taylor's sin, and Sheila's deception. Spoilers for the next 2 weeks of The Bold and the Beautiful point to some surprises. Dylan crosses boundaries once more for starters. Taylor Hayes succumbs to her emotions. Sheila Carter Sharp is also tricked by everyone, even John Finnegan. Now let's begin discussing the upcoming events in the CBS soap drama. Taylor Hayes sin. Let's begin with Deacon Sharp and Taylor. After hearing about her therapy session, Steffi Forrester Finnegan confronted her mother. The fact that Taylor and Sheila's spouse were dancing dangerously appalled Steffi. Taylor pledged to put an immediate stop to it. But Taylor simply isn't capable of doing it. She doesn't seem to be able to resist when Deacon runs his fingers through her hair. Fans of John Finnegan's mission are aware that Steffi confided with Finn last week about her worries. The doctor, who knows Taylor well, thought that didn't sound right. The man offered to talk to Deacon about it at the same time. Finn sees his biological mother but is unable to speak with Deacon. Sheila keeps saying that Taylor saved her marriage, and Finn is unsure of how to react. More people learn about Deacon and Taylor's affair as the week goes on. All except Sheila, that is. In fact, Finn tries to avoid Sheila rather than be honest with her. Electra Forrester has told her that Dylan's desperation is over. Dylan appears to be aware that her crush is inappropriate, yet she is unable to stop herself. Dylan expresses his desire to thank Will Spencer for his generosity, while they are by themselves. Electra has to be in the workplace. Maybe RJ Forrester is distracting her a little. Electra is now seeing Will, but RJ and she appear to be in love. But it doesn't mean RJ will give up. Next 2 weeks. According to spoilers for the week of January 26th on The Bold and the Beautiful, Carter Walton and Daphne Rose ought to get married. In the meantime, it remains to be seen how long Katie Logan Spencer can conceal her lead designer from Brooke Logan Forrester. Could this endeavor really be too much for both of them? Even though Eric will assist Katie have a fantastic fashion debut? Stay tuned as Sheila gets closer to learning the truth regarding Deacon and Taylor's therapy sessions. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Steffi Forrester's startling double standard. Why did Dylan get a job while Deke was fired? Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful let viewers face an awkward topic that the show itself appears ready to ignore. Is Steffi Forrester Finnegan acting blatantly unfairly when it comes to who should work at Forrester Creations? More significantly, why was Dylan abruptly welcomed with open arms and a possible salary while Deke Sharp was sacked for being unnecessary? Steffi's activities appear to be sensible, caring, and encouraging at first glance. However, upon closer inspection, the reasoning entirely collapses. The figures don't add up. The justifications run counter to one another. Whether on purpose or not, the message being conveyed is that convenience, connections, and plot placement are more important than merit. Let's face it. How is there now space in the budget for Dylan if Forrester Creations really couldn't afford to retain Deke Sharp? Deke Sharp, trained, talented, and thrown away. Before delving into Dylan's unexpected ascent, it's critical to review Deke Sharp's background and contributions. Deke didn't just happen to walk into Forrester Creations and ask for donations. He earned his position without relying on romance, sympathy, or unstable housing. Deke attended a school for design. He worked hard. He assembled a portfolio. He researched the art. Most significantly, he gained recognition without anyone being aware of his identity. People were clearly impressed when Deke anonymously submitted his sketches. Not impressed in a pleasant way. I was not impressed by "this has potential." Really impressed. Even before his name was mentioned, his designs were so distinctive that they were considered seriously. His future at Forrester Creations ought to have been guaranteed by that alone. That ought to have been gold in a field that is fixated on uniqueness. Did Deke lack experience? Of course. Did he have a tough exterior? Yes. Was mentoring still necessary for him? Naturally. However, every designer actually begins that way. Nobody comes out completely developed. Without coaching, teamwork, and time to develop, no one starts a legendary fashion career. But that didn't matter. Thomas returns, and Deke is suddenly disposable. Deke's destiny was set the instant Thomas Forrester declared his desire to return to Hope for the future. Deke's contribution was irrelevant. Hope's belief in him was irrelevant. The fact that he could have been used in other departments of the business didn't matter. It was evident that Thomas and Zen Forrester Dominguez did not want him. They maintained that without Deke, they could manage the line. They presented him as unnecessary. They turned him into a needless expenditure. And Steffi fully supported them. Hope Logan Spencer contended that Deke would undoubtedly have a place at Forrester Creations, if not on Hope for the future. It's a huge fashion house. Designers take turns. Teams grow and shrink. When leadership desires it, flexibility is present. However, Steffi stopped it. Her position was unwavering and firm. They couldn't defend having Deke on staff if they didn't need him. This concludes the conversation. Steffi's hard line. We don't pay people we don't need. Steffi's logic was presented as professional and practical at the time. She was acting responsibly, not cruelly. Budgets are important. Efficiency is important. Each role must have a purpose. Alright. If Steffi used that reasoning consistently, it would make sense. However, she doesn't. And that's where the issue starts. Let's fast forward to Dylan. No portfolio, no problem, no fashion training. Dylan is a creative person. There is no doubt about that. She is vocal, imaginative, and obviously emotionally complex. However, being creative does not equate to being prepared for the fashion industry, particularly at a major company like Forrester Creations. Despite Dylan's lack of formal fashion education, design school background, professional fashion portfolio, and shown industry experience, Steffi reacts entirely differently when Electra Forrester and Will Spencer approach her about aiding Dylan. All of a sudden, Steffi is flexible, supportive, open-minded, or willing to see what she can do. She consents to discuss hiring Dylan with Rich Forrester. She is eager to assist her. She doesn't seem to care if Dylan is needed. And the word needed completely vanishes. The budget objection. Where did it go? At this point, viewers begin to raise the obvious question. What was the source of the funds? There was no space when it was Deke. There is no budget. There is no explanation. However, when it's Dylan, flexibility appears out of nowhere. A discussion is taking place. A potential role exists. Forrester Creations did not become wealthy overnight. Between Dylan's arrival and Deke's dismissal, the company did not experience a spectacular budget expansion. What has changed then? Not the money, not the requirements for staffing, not the amount of work. The plot was altered. Merit versus plot convenience. Deke Sharp stood for development, talent, and career aspirations. The show would have had to engage in a slow-burn success story, mentorship, obstacles, advancement, and eventual payoff, in order to keep him at Forrester Creations. Dylan, meanwhile, is a symbol of disorder. From a soap opera writer's point of view, Dylan is more instantly helpful since she brings emotional tension, romantic issues, a housing drama, Electra insecurity, a Will Spencer closeness, mystery around her identity. Although it clarifies Steffi's choice, it doesn't make logic. Is Steffi motivated by convenience or compassion? Steffi's acts are presented in the show as acts of charity. She wishes to assist someone in need. Dylan is having difficulties. She resides in her vehicle. She is susceptible. That's all true. However, inconsistency cannot be eliminated by kindness. When Deke lost his job, Steffi showed no empathy. When Hope begged for him, she was unyielding. She didn't care about his potential or future. Compassion suddenly becomes a decisive factor, but only when it aligns with the prevailing narrative. That's why the hypocrisy is so obvious. Would Deke have stayed somewhere else? Probably the most annoying part of the whole thing is this. Nobody was requesting that Deke remain on Hope for the future in defiance of Thomas's wishes. That power dynamic was even recognized by Hope. However, Forrester Creations is a huge company. Steffi eliminated the following options: junior design teams, experimental lines, intern to designer pathways, and creative development roles. However, Dylan, who contributes less directly to the fashion side, might accept a paid part just because the plot requires her to be inside the building. From a purely professional perspective, Dylan contributes less to Forrester Creations than Deke ever did, but he does provide more drama. She's not positioned as a designer. She doesn't offer validated fashion knowledge. She doesn't make a brand stronger. She does include personal turmoil, though. Her existence at Forrester maintains her intimate relationship with Will, makes Electra tense, fosters jealousy, causes miscommunication, makes room for future betrayals. That's soap logic, not business logic. Steffi as the face of contradiction. Steffi Forrester Finnegan is frequently portrayed as the astute, straightforward executive. She takes great satisfaction in making difficult choices and putting the needs of the business first. However, her behavior in this instance calls into question her credibility. She can't say, "We don't keep people we don't need," and then hire someone the business obviously doesn't need. She can't say, "There's no room in the budget," and then magically discover room when it's convenient. Viewers notice these things and they remember the true reason. Let's state the quiet part aloud. Deke has to be at Logan. At Logan, the bold and the beautiful needed Deke Sharp. A youthful, ambitious designer was needed by Katie Logan Spencer's fashion house. Deke required a new beginning. He had to quit Forrester Creations because of that plot. Steffi's reasoning is bent to match the outline because Forrester needs Dylan. Inside the building, near Electra, near Will, positioned as a disruption. Conclusion. Drama wins, logic loses. Is Steffi being unfair? Indeed. Is there inconsistency in the decision? Of course. Does it make sense from a business or character standpoint? Not at all. But from the standpoint of composing soap operas, does it make sense? Regretfully, yeah. More fashion-related surprises are anticipated, according to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Thus, this discrepancy will probably be disregarded or excused in the past. It's another matter entirely whether or not viewers accept that rationale. Deke deserved better, that much is certain. Even if the program acts otherwise, Steffi's credibility suffered. Record this. General Hospital, Young and Restless, BTG Days and BMB Episode Guide, January 19th to 23rd. Beyond the Gates on Monday, January 19th. A special episode of Beyond the Gates will run on BTG. The episode will feature commentary from the performers as they revisit their tales, including all of the explosive affairs, surprising cons, and family secrets from Season 1. On Tuesday, January 20th, the Hamiltons celebrate awkwardly, Joey corrects Leslie, Vanessa shocks Nicole with some scandalous information, and Chelsea's fresh start sparks conflict with Madison. On Wednesday, January 21st, Smitty and Martin are taken aback by Tyrell's most recent position on a family custom. Vanessa proposes to Kyle. Naomi conceals her new normal from her entire family, and Kat and Ted quarrel about Eva. On Thursday, January 22nd, two couples advance in their relationships by the end of the evening. Danny confides in Bill and then takes an unexpected move. Haley feels cornered, Vanessa is harassed, and Joey provides Elon with some crucial information. On Friday, January 23rd, Anita puts pressure on Sharon. Bill buys Tomas's silence. Leslie confronts Shanice about Ted. Danny and Pamela target Isaiah. Ashley confronts Derek about his sabotage, and Jacob starts his covert operation. The Bold and the Beautiful will worries that his standing at Forrester. RJ will be impacted by Katie's choice. Finds out that Elektra is seeing Will, and on Monday, January 19th, Donna urges Katie to be honest with Brooke on BNB. Will and RJ. On Tuesday, January 20th, they will meet in person for the first time in years. On Wednesday, January 21st, Deacon and Taylor are unable to suppress their emotions, and Steffi urges Taylor to stop treating Deacon as a patient. When Elektra tells Will about her worries regarding Dylan on Thursday, January 22nd, everyone rushes to hide Deacon and Taylor from Sheila. Finn attempts to evade Sheila at Il Giardino on Friday, January 23rd, while Dylan assures Elektra not to cross limits. On Monday, January 19th, Chanel and Johnny get ready for Trey's christening on Days. Meanwhile, Gabby and Rafe question Ari. Leo has a heartfelt moment with Javi, and Sophia is startled to see Holly. On Tuesday, January 20th, Brady and Kristen argue. Julie gets advice from Foster. Leo begs Javi to stay. Gwen confronts Dimitri, and Sarah updates Marlena on her health. On Wednesday, January 21st, Jack and Jennifer meet with Chad to determine Thomas and Charlotte's custody. Kat confides in Felicity. Julie organizes her first book club with Foster, Marlena, and Maggie, and Jeremy supports Thomas. On Thursday, January 22nd, Stephanie and Jada spend the day wedding shopping. Steve follows Alex, Jeremy confides in Julie, JJ and Theo get back together, and Philip and Gabby go on a provocative date. On Friday, January 23rd, Julie stands by Jeremy, Marlena confides in Belle, Jennifer queries Chad. A surprising development shakes Stephanie and Alex, and Jada gives Steve an update. General Hospital Sunny makes a mysterious offer. Anna is appalled, Drew warns Nina, and Dante is torn as the outcome of Willow's trial sends shockwaves through the Monday, January 19th episode of GH. On Tuesday, January 20th, Elizabeth and Lucas rush to action. Michael and Chase have a heated exchange, Trina confides in Ava, Cullum gives fresh directives, and Britt asks Jason out on a date. On Wednesday, January 21st, Laura is distressed as Tracy extends an offer to Jason. Nina counsels Kai, Brennan informs Jocelyn, and Lucas breaks the heartbreaking news. On Thursday, January 22nd, Emma looks to Nathan for assistance. Brooklyn and Chase talk about their future. Lucas and Marco are taken aback. Britt is cornered, and Jason is skeptical. Sunny manipulates Ava on Friday, January 23rd. Curtis is relieved. Joss seeks assistance from an odd source. Jordan arranges an introduction, and Jason expresses his worry for Britt. On Monday, January 19th on Y&R, Nick disobeys his doctor's orders, Victoria and Adam collaborate to safeguard Newman Enterprises, and Victor receives important information from Sienna. On Tuesday, January 20th, Victoria holds Billy responsible for his behavior. Chelsea proves herself to Nikki, and Victor gets ready to fight Matt Clark. On Wednesday, January 21st, Sally is taken aback by Billy's choice. Victor discovers Nikki and Jack in a precarious scenario, and Phyllis defends herself against Kane. On Thursday, January 22nd, Victoria punches Kane where it hurts. Daniel and Tessa have a sit-down. Sharon worries about Nick's health, and Victor puts Jack on notice. On Friday, January 23rd, Holden and Audra make amends with Amy. Mariah gets a spooky message, and Abby and Devin are in danger.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.